Okay. Give me the countdown. And we all ready, Miss Felicia. All right. So when I'm doing the introduction, just need complete silence. We got 10 seconds and counting. All right. We're going in three, five. You're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM Oakland and streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show with Kenya Asa, Kwezi Dreams, and your man Cat Fitness.
What's up?
Kenya,
Yeah.
I'm feeling amazing today.
When aren't you feeling amazing? How can
That's
you
true.
not feel amazing being covered in all of those shiny muscles? How can
Well,
you not?
It's a blessing and a curse. At
Oh,
the same
is
time,
it?
you know?
Is it a curse?
Yeah, because sometimes I just want people to focus on the inner self.
They just want to look at you want them to look at your eyes.
Yeah, my
right?
eyes.
My eyes are up here.
Yeah,
Right.
look up here.
Yeah.
Focus.
Instead of looking at the pecs and the slats and slats and bumps and yes,
Man,
I feel you.
Sometimes I'm scared to put on cocoa butter in the morning time.
You should be.
No.
That you should be incredibly afraid because when I put on my cocoa butter, and I'm really a shea butter girl. I like to make my own kind of shea butter, coconut oil, like argan oil, like body oils and lotions and creams and stuff.
Okay.
And when I do that, and as I am applying the shininess to my curves and my chocolate deliciousness, I think to myself, do I really need to go out in public right now? Because do I really attention? And the answer is yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do like attention. Okay.
That's attention that I'm going to just say, hey, I'm not ready for.
Sure.
That today's episode is, I feel like we're so in tune with this brother in the building right now because he's one of the people that inspire me on a daily basis. Inspires me. He's almost, whether he knows it or not, like I'm Daniel's son and he's Mr. Miyagi kind of thing.
Is
you know
he Mr. Right?
Mr. Wax on, wax
yes,
off.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yes, I know.
Yeah.
I'm well aware.
For the people that don't know who we have in the studio today.
Preach on it.
Man, we have the Body by James. The legendary. Man, he been in the game, what, 20 years?
Yes, sir.
20 years doing this work in the community.
Yes, sir.
Man, name brand throughout the Bay Area. Has transformed hundreds to thousands of people.
Wow.
Yeah, over the years.
We'll take it.
Come on. We working out here.
Man, y'all gassing me up today.
Well,
got to.
I love y'all.
Man, when you sit around excellence, man, you got to give you your roses, brother.
Listen, for real.
You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful people. I appreciate y'all, man. As you can tell, we already family in here.
Oh, yeah.
Just met Kenya, but we already family.
Yes.
Kenya, she's a ball of energy. She brightens up any room that she comes into. Look at that. Come on, that $1 million smile.
Oh, why, thank you. Thank you.
But before we get this episode started, because I know this one is, like I said, it's legendary. I just got done doing your podcast not too long ago. We can kind of touch on that a little bit.
Oh, yay.
But we got a special treat. Before every episode of the Anything Can Happen show, we like to have shots. And not your
shots.
And not your ordinary shots.
Oh,
we got the CMO shots. Yeah, where your cup go, brother James?
This is my cup.
Can you show that's yours?
Okay, maybe. No, wait, maybe that's yours. I think I might have put mine. Okay, mine is right here.
She tried to take my shot.
Let me look at your shot and make sure that's. Oh,
did she dip into your?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I can tell because there's red lipstick on the spoon. And it's my fault. There's red lipstick on that spoon too, because I really like.
Brother James, here you go. I haven't even touched this.
Okay,
one.
so
brand new.
So are you saying that I get 2 because I ate both of ours?
Come on, see?
I'm sorry.
That's why I tell you not before we start the episode.
Know, but it's really good.
I know, but you got to restrain yourself sometimes, woman.
God.
You got to just.
That got great.
Yeah.
See, I had no sisters growing up, so I'm just gonna receive this sisterhood I'm getting right now. Okay. I heard this how it go. When you have sisters, they just take your stuff.
When you have sisters that are hungry, okay, and who haven't eaten breakfast.
Wow, that's on me. How?
Yeah.
That part.
Come on.
Okay, I'm gonna get my shot.
Can we take? We have elevated conversations here at the Anything Can Happen show. So we need the 92 minerals that our body needs on a daily basis. So, Brother James, can you partake in the Rejuvenate Tropical Sea Moss Gel Sunrise? Tropical Sunrise.
Get on this, brother. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Come on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Come on.
Okay.
He lit up like a Christmas tree.
All right. Now I can't lie. I already got some cat sea moss at the house. This right here is banging too. If you are not on this yet, I promise you. I've been on this for what now, Cat? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh.
Okay. I'll tell you right now. One, it does suppress my appetite for all the other stuff I'm not supposed to be eating. Right?
Not eating all that junk.
Thank you. Get a little fullness from it. You know, yeah, we're in the fitness industry, but we're people too.
Yes, sir.
I like a little bit of junk too. So it helps me there. I can't lie. I've been sleeping better.
Come on.
My energy levels have been balanced out. I tend to bounce off the walls a little bit, so I'm a little more chill. Right? I can think more clearly. I'm telling you that. So all these natural ingredients here, the 92 minerals. So Kenya's getting what, 184 because she stole mine.
Man,
so that's okay.
I admit it.
184 is better than 92. It's all good. That's good, man. So, but this right here, I'm telling y'all, I don't. If you know me at all, I hardly ever endorse anything. Right. So in the fitness industry, Cat knows we get approached by everybody.
Yeah.
They roll up on you at the park with the powders and the muscle drinks and all that type of stuff. I don't do it unless I truly believe in it. I'm telling you right now, y'all need to hit Cat up and get this sea moss gel. One, it's delicious. You're going to think you're just drinking a smoothie. He had to tell me, only get your spoonfuls every day. If you drink the whole thing, it's not going to help you no more. Yeah. So I have to walk away from the fridge, actively telling myself, don't kill it.
Yeah, because it's really good. You just want to eat it and eat it.
So I'm telling you right now.
Cat, and your body loves the minerals. You know what I'm saying? So on top of it, your body is like, oh, that's what I needed.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So,
can I tell y'all what I made with my elderberry, the sea moss that you gave me last week, whatever. So I usually just eat it out of the jar, and like Mr. Body by James was just saying, it is hard to step away. But this week I put it in one of my protein shakes just to add a little extra flavor, and it was very delicious. And then I added it to my vinaigrette. When I ate, made my salad a few days ago, and I always make my own salad dressing, little olive oil, some garlic, a little bit of mustard and some apple cider vinegar, and just for that little touch of sweetness, and I put my spoonful in my blender for my salad dressing, and it was delicious.
So we got the salad dressing with the elderberry blast.
That was delicious. And I cook a lot, and I make my own. I make a lot of.
You gotta make a video for that.
Like, I really
should. Make a video and post it, and then
You've been telling me for 2 years I need to make a video. Or something or another.
You gotta.
True.
Your son's what? 13, 14?
Yeah. 13.
He's 13, right?
Yeah.
He's your videographer. I know you're not the social media guru, but he is.
Well, no, he's not. But he has been taking my yoga pictures since he was like 5 years old. Okay. So he's got a good.
But he knows how to navigate these social media platforms.
No, he does not.
He doesn't.
He's not on social media at all.
He's 13.
He'll figure it out. I bet you he'll figure it out faster.
He doesn't even play video games. We don't have a video game console at all.
What? You are blessed.
Man.
No. That's one of the rules I slapped down at birth when he was born. I'm like, no, we gonna have conversations. I had a baby so we could be friends. Like, you ain't going. You're not just gonna
my best friend.
Leave me alone.
You want to tag along,
right? Just leave me alone to play video games. So, but try it in your salad dressing, you guys. You're getting your 92 minerals, and you're making your own salad dressing, which you should be doing anyway, people.
Come on.
And it was super, super scrumptious. And so now I'm trying to think of all the other things that I can do with my Rejuvenate.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So enough about Rejuvenate, because
I'm still eating somebody because I got 2 orders.
Thank y'all for all the shameless plugs that y'all just did. I'll pay y'all later. But anyway,
delicious.
Brother James.
Yes.
You know, you've been doing Body by James for how many years now?
Coming up on 20.
20 years.
Yep.
So what got you into this field of work?
Ooh, okay, so we're going to travel down the same road.
Yeah.
We're just talking about with what? Rejuvenate, CMOS, gel, another shameless plug.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my cut later. But the same reason, really, man. I grew up, so my family.
Where did you grow up?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
I put it this way. Now, if you ever ask my hometown, I'm sitting in it right now. Right, so I always claim Oakland.
Okay,
Oakland
tell business out there.
Man, we're going back, run TMC, Warriors game, and nosebleeds. The team was horrible, but we're going anyway.
Come on.
All that good stuff, right? So I will always claim Oakland as my hometown. But I really did move throughout the Bay. So really, it's just Bay Area born and bred. I got Oakland, Berkeley, I got Concord, Martinez. I got all this stuff, right? My mom was kind of nomadic. Yeah. So we moved a lot.
But every couple of years.
Oh, man. Oh, like clockwork. Clockwork. We bored. Let's go. Right? Which kind of shapes the way I am now. Yeah. Right? So moving and shaking all day, that's the only thing I can't do. I could not sit in one place for 12 hours. This is right. So really what got me into it, though, my family history basically is this. My mother and my father were 8 or 9 years apart, I believe. So my mother's side is much older, right? My father was the oldest one on his side of the family, so everyone's younger than him. To put this in perspective, my father's side, the younger side, by the age of 25, I only had one living relative older than me.
Okay.
They were all gone by the time I was 25. And this is the younger side of my family, by far.
Everybody already transitioned. Now, beautiful people live great lives, love them to life, all that good stuff. But a lot of their health issues and their subsequent death came from lifestyle choices. Man. You know, that was my party side of the family. Yeah. You want to get live, you know it's going down at the Patterson's on Saturday. Yeah, it's a bottle, right? You know, we turning up.
Everything. Bottles, whatever else you want to get into.
Other things.
Whatever kind of cocktails you need.
Talk about, right? All that good stuff. So it was fun, but I saw the effects of the lifestyle at an early age. And so it turned me, a certain direction. So, I'm a social drinker. I might have a drink once a month at somebody's party or something like that. I'm not going to throw back 5 of them and get maybe one. They laugh at me because I'm a nurse it all night long. Yeah. And they already know. I never got into any heavy drugs. Smoke weed 3 times in my life, that type of stuff. It just from an early age, I said, hey, all my favorite people are gone. Favorite people on my mom's side too. But I love these people and they're all gone, like by high school. Yeah. Right. So for me, I was already an athlete. My father's side of the family was the athletic side. So some of them, they still have records at Berkeley High, all this good stuff. So I was already in the healthy lifestyle, but all the things that, a lot of athletes kind of do on the side, I saw the effects early on. So I just cut all that out. And then when I started looking at other people's families and how they were structured and people dying left and right, especially our people. Yeah. Right. We're not educated on a lot of these things. We're really not. Or things we've carried back from the olden days that we still eat. All the good stuff. Like, why are we eating chitlins? That's a whole nother conversation, right? So
we can get into that.
Exactly. Like, you can't even stay in the house. It smells so bad, but y'all still eating that stuff. That's cool. There's things we carried even from slavery, right?
Oh, sure.
Our people was eating leftovers. They were eating whatever they were given. Why are we still eating this stuff? Y'all got jobs. Live in the U.S. You can go to the store, right? But we're not processing things and thinking them through. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm looking around in my community. I saw my own family. Man, we really have our own epidemic going on. Yeah, we really do. And so I was playing ball in college. This cat messed up my knee, then tore my quad, all this stuff. Ended up spending my 2 years in college pretty much on the trainer's table and talking to them, figuring out how do you do what you do. And that took me down the kinesiology path. And then along the way, I was blessed to look up people like Kat, other local chefs, vegan chefs, all different types of stuff, getting into the nutrition side and really getting a holistic view of this thing. And so it really just became my mission. Like when I talk to clients, of course, we have, the aesthetic and how you look and you want the 6-pack and all this good stuff. But the ladies want to tone everything up and, keep the girls nice and high and perky and all this type of stuff. That's great, too. There's nothing wrong with it. But my bottom line is I want you to be able to play with your kids. I want you to be around for your grandkids, maybe your great-grands, and still be able to play with them, not just be the old granny sitting in the chair, right? Getting ready to kick the bucket any day.
So you're talking about quality of life. Now.
Exactly.
Changing that narrative in our community, making sure that, we see a lot of our elders get up in age. There are people that live until their 70s. If they're lucky,
80s, if we are lucky, we will get there.
Yeah. Mine were gone at 60, bro.
Yeah. My grandfather on my dad's side transitioned in his late 30s. And then on my mom's side, her mom passed away in her early 40s due to cancer and stuff.
Wow.
Right. So, yeah, it's always been something that, I even recognized in my own family. It was like, man, it has to be a different kind of way.
Right.
Right. And just like you said, it's just what we've been exposed to in our community.
Exactly.
And now, since we're in the age of information, now we can be like, oh, this is why. We can kind of get to the root of a lot of these different things that we see: the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the cancers, the heart disease, all these things. And the bottom line is lifestyle.
Well, and we talk a lot about the effects of kind of eating the way we were all kind of raised and trained and whatnot to eat. And also, though, this is the United States. And there is a lot of, not just in our community, but in, every community. The junk food is pushed and the McDonald's commercials are rampant. And so all of the communities in this country are facing a lot of these issues, right?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of these health issues.
But that's how they wanted it. It's systematically
it is, of
done.
course, absolutely, absolutely. But part of it too is when you look at super poor, and not just Black communities, but white communities, like in the South, like that fruit and vegetables is incredibly expensive because it has to be transported a lot of times. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. But then a burger from a fast food place
99
is
cents.
much cheaper.
Go crazy.
Or
you got $5 in your pocket.
Right,
Yep.
the dollar menu, the $5 menu. And I saw a something on TV one time where this family was at the grocery store and the little girl wanted an apple. And the mother was like, we cannot afford that. Because she needed to feed her whole family on like $5. So there's a lot of problems with, in our community, there's like me and Kat have said many times, like the slavery diet that, we were forced to have. And then, but we were innovative also. We were innovative people growing potatoes under the floorboards of the cabins and growing our own food and the okras and all these other things. So it's pervasive throughout the country, but when we look at our own community, we're always asking ourselves and our people, are you willing to make a change? And
I was gonna say, and that's where the reprogramming comes in, and that's why I want to talk to you about James. Like, what have you done through Body by James to help people better understand and reprogram their mind to know that they don't have to do it the way they grew up? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's like, this is all I know, James. I know how to fry the chicken. I know how to do this. This is you speaking a foreign language to me right now.
And also, why would they want to stop? Because it tastes so good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, because while we're having this conversation, it just came to me like the pros and cons of the luxury of choice.
Yeah.
Right? Again, you said we're in the United States. So you can choose to be whatever you want to be. You can choose to eat whatever you want to eat. You can choose to live whatever lifestyle you want to live. Like, it's literally protected by right.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, and this is why I tell people all the time, I am not for everyone. I'm for you, but I may not be the coach for you. Right? Because I don't sugarcoat those type of things.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna rub your back and tell you it's okay. And I know it's been a hard life. Yeah, I know that.
You're not gonna braid their hair.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're gonna walk around looking like Boo Boo the Fool or something messing with me. But do your own hair. But the thing is, like, I want to empower people, and what I seek to do is empower you to really believe more in yourself. And in your power to choose. Right? Like, we're indoctrinated in a society that just tells us you should do it this way, you should do it that way. This is what's cool. This is what everyone's doing.
This is what's trending right now.
Right. We're literally, if you allow yourself to be, you're made into a sheep. And so the whole thing is like, no, take your own power back. You have the choice here. Two things are true. One, okay, it can be more expensive to eat healthy. It can be. It's actually not that much more. It's just something we think. Right. But we're not looking at total cost. Right? So this is cheaper, but it's killing me. Right? This is more expensive, but I'll have a good life.
Yeah.
I'll be around for my kids, my grandkids. So again, it's the luxury of choice.
Yeah.
We choose what we're going to invest in. We choose how we're going to live our lives and how we invest our money.
So it's so funny because say people that have those luxury cars, right?
Yeah.
They're willing. They're like, oh, I'm going to put the 91 premium in my joint. I ain't going to put that 87 unleaded in there. It's going to make my engine all messed up, right?
And
clear as day.
Cheapy gas.
Cheap little gas. It's going to mess up my engine. But when we start talking about yourself, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's crazy how many people don't see the value within themselves to put the high premium foods and things into their own body, but more so a vessel that they can replace.
Well, but it's also easier a lot of times to just go with what you know and to not, like you said, the information is out there, but it's not readily accessible all the time to a lot of people. And then you also have people like my grandfather said one time, I was like, Grandpa, do you really need to put salt on top of the soy sauce on top of your Chinese food? Like a blanket of salt on top of the Chinese food. And he said, what's going to happen, honey? Am I going to die? Because I'm like 90 years old. He's like, he is like, it ain't killed me yet. But what I think too is that when older people are like, well, I'm still alive, we have to think about if a 90-year-old started off eating things that were not full of the chemicals and the hormones and things that we have in our food today, and that when we grow our own food, because I grow a lot of my own food, and you're mindful of what goes into your soil and all those other things. But if you're buying now from the stores and from the restaurants and all that other stuff, you don't know what is in that stuff.
True.
You don't know what is in, those pesticides. You do not know. And so, yes, maybe you as a very old person got to this age and you're still living life or whatever, but you started off with a foundation that's different than these young people coming up today who are growing up on poor,
growing up on Takis and dollar menus and everything else.
Bro, I remember coaching while I was helping assist. My boy was coaching a high school basketball team. I won't name the school. And I remember coming up to work with him, and he lasted 2 years, and then he said he couldn't do it anymore. He said, because these kids are different.
Yeah.
They just are. They walk into practice with the Cheetos and the Doritos and the soda and all this type of, like, no wonder you can't make it through a practice, bro. Like, your body is shot.
Yeah.
And
dehydrated, everything.
Right. And trying to deprogram that stuff is a trip, man. And then, of course, they're not the ones buying the stuff. So now you got to try to deprogram the parents. And a lot of times they buck up against you too. But it's the same thing like you were saying, Kenny. It's just the indoctrination of it, the thought process. I'm still here, so I must still be okay. And not knowing, like, there was a study that was done not too long ago. They literally took a group of naturally thin people or athletes or models or whatever, and then they tested that group against a group of extremely obese people, right? And the numbers were staggering when they came back. Blood pressure, hypertension, pre this, pre that, whether it's diabetes or anything like that. The so-called healthy thin group, their numbers were just as high or higher as the obese group.
Yeah.
Because the thin people looked in the mirror and said, I look like this, therefore I can do whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? So their diets a lot of times were actually worse than the obese
because they
group.
can be.
Exactly.
You can be. If you're skinny, I have a couple of friends like that. Eat the worst. I mean, it's amazing the things that that will go into some of my friends' mouths and the mouths of their children. But they are skinny, beautiful, thin, perfect, quote unquote, perfect bodies.
Well, what society tells.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Quote by quote unquote.
Yeah.
And so then you're deluded into believing that you're healthy just because you're not overweight. And then also on the flip side, we fat shame this country, and we're deluded into thinking that just because somebody is overweight that they're on death's doorstep, and that's not true either.
Yeah,
Right. It's funny. The example I give a lot of times, and both of you know that both of these, when I'm talking to 90% of my clients are women. So we're talking about weight issues. I've been heavy. I'm 30 pounds heavier than I was in high school, and it's like, yeah, you're 40. Like, you shouldn't weigh the same as you did in high school. No one should. You're probably too small back then. But when I give them the example of, say, Serena Williams, right? We all know her, and Shaquille O'Neal. At one point, now Serena's still there. She kept together. We all know Shaq was always lazy. He just had some kind of good genes, and now he's an old overweight dude. But at one point, these were two of the fittest people on the planet. Shaq was over 300 pounds, and Serena's over 220 at her height. Serena's what, 5'6", 5'7"?
Yeah.
She's a big girl,
but she got a lot of muscle.
Man,
her muscle mass, her body fat percentage.
Oh my
goodness, that girl's rocking an 8-pack.
Yes.
You know what I mean? She was her stomach was like mine back in high school. You know what I mean? I'm like, God, dog, look at this girl. Yeah. So again, it's not the weight, it's not the size, it's the condition of your body, like you were saying, right? Yeah. It's who are you from the inside out. A lot of these women too, when we get to train, it's like, I need to lose 80 pounds, this and that. I'm like, okay, we can make that our goal. Let's shoot for it. But I'm betting that once you get down to about 40, 50, 55 pounds off and your body is completely different inside and out, you'll be fine.
Right.
But you're like, ooh, I'm still thick and I'm tight.
Right.
Right. I don't do crackhead training. I'm not trying to make you a stick figure. That's not what I'm trying to do. Again,
we're not a cross country team.
Just running and running.
As a woman, somebody who I myself used to be a ballet dancer, and so the anorexia and the bulimia and all the other eating disorders in between, and the encouragement. I mean, I was always encouraged to, be thinner, to take laxatives, to throw up before class, things like that. And it was always like that in the 70s and the 80s. Like it was always like that, like laxatives, man. Just laxatives. Now they call it skinny tea, but it's the same, and then like me and my friends used to put Vaseline on our teeth before we threw up, like the whole 9 yards. And it was all this like negative talk about our bodies, and so women, like when you were speaking about your clients, we as women grow up fighting. It's a fighting battle from the jump. You're never just like good the way you are. Nobody ever looks at you and either like silence is an option. You do not have to look at a girl every time and say something about the way she looks every single time. Oh, wow, you've lost a few pounds. You look great. Or, oh, do you really need to eat that? And it's constant for women, right? And so then you as a trainer, you're coming up against, maybe decades of negativity and a very little positivity when it comes to women and their bodies. And so, it's a whole bunch of mental stuff, garbage too. Yeah.
It's amazing a lot of times when we're coaching, I know Kat's experience this too, the way you hear clients speak about themselves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I'm looking at this person like, what are you talking about?
Where did you get this narrative from?
Like seriously,
for sure.
I have clients that sign up, and in my mind, I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Like what are we here for? Because there's nothing going on. I mean, I have people that come in like, you look better than me. Like, what's happening? But in her mind or in his mind, sometimes they're seeing themselves in the mirror as that 12-year-old kid that was getting beat up, or the one that was getting picked on, or whatever, or the one mom said X, Y, and Z to about her weight.
They were getting shamed somehow.
Well, and the eating disorders that you can't see, because even when I was a little girl, people were saying that I was too skinny. And then, of course, I was a ballet dancer. And, when you start developing and all that other stuff, and it's like, oh, make sure that you only eat this. Or I had a ballet teacher that would say, make sure you throw up before class. And this went on until I was in my early 20s, and so it becomes this. That it's wrong. That something is wrong, but then it's been drilled into your head for as long as you can remember that something is wrong with you, that you are not just fine. Nobody ever does that. Nobody ever comes up to you and is like, hey, looking good, feeling good. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. It's always like, you should eat a little bit more. Or people are always like, she should have a cheeseburger. Or oh, maybe you should, do you really need to eat that because you look like you've put on 2 or 3 pounds? And so, just shut up. Just shut up. Women, we all have mirrors. We know what we look like. We do not need your little secondhand behind the scenes look about our bodies, because that's where eating disorders come in, and it's you can die from that.
Oh, easy. Yeah. And it's so interesting too, because coming from the world of sports, right? It's like, and even male-female issues, hearing you and other women talk about more the mental and emotional side of it, as far as the effects and why you're doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
There were things we had to do too. Say if you were wrestling or anything like that, you had to make weight, you had to do this, whatever. Right. But it wasn't about the way you saw yourself. It was just, this is the requirement to participate in this. It didn't create a stigma for me. It didn't create a way I saw myself or anything like that.
Right.
And so a lot of times with like female clients, it's just, talking to them. I tell them all the time, 90% of my job is actually like bartender, psychologist.
Yeah.
All this other stuff is just activity.
Yeah.
Right. So there's some moves. Maybe this is something I made up. Maybe Kat made up his own routine. That's cool. That's our own thing. But really, most of what I'm doing is I'm talking you through your issues as we do this. So we're kind of doing the compound effect. Yeah. So you can feel better about yourself, and then you get the endorphins from the workout too.
Yeah, I do the same thing teaching yoga, especially my private clients. I had a client the other day that came with, she brought some tea and a little bit of like pumpkin bread. And we spent like a half an hour drinking tea and chatting about what was going on in her life or whatever. And I'm like, okay, we have to move. It's time to get up.
Right. Yeah. They'll talk to you for an hour if you let them.
Yeah. So that's okay with me.
Before we get into the second half of this conversation, y'all, because this is getting great. It's getting juicy. If y'all just tuning in, y'all got to go back to the beginning of the episode and hear exactly how we got to this particular point. But we're halfway through already. We have to take a quick music break. Okay. So you're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM Oakland, streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment. We're going to be right back. We got a quick music break. This is La Russell. Here we go. We got 3 minutes.
Hey, you have to give me your info before I leave out of here. Because I have a lot of clients that ask about yoga or anything like that. I'm like, Coach, you don't want me. I cannot fold up.
So that's what we used to do. I had, on Saturday classes, I would do 30 minutes. And then the second half I have for coming in do 30 minutes of yoga for my clients.
Thank you. I know you said you travel. How far will you go?
Yeah. I'll go anywhere.
Oh, okay. Right on. Okay. Because I have.
We all live by each other.
Serious?
Yeah. I was still teaching when I was in Europe last year. Okay, I was online, and I spent Christmas in Costa Rica, and I was teaching. I was teaching right there from my resort room, right there. Just set up my phone. I didn't even bring my laptop or anything. I was just teaching on my phone.
Zone workout.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, because my whole turned me on to the Oakland group, and then we got the whole El Sobrante Hercules group.
Yeah, I'm right there. I live in Richmond.
Okay. Send me info. I'll blast it out.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I'm down. Sure. And my website's about to come out. I know I say this every week. But there's a picture on my website that you took, Kat.
Come on.
From your studio. Yeah, of like me and one of my classes. Yeah.
Man, that was lovely.
So now that my site's coming out, and I've been putting so much energy into it. I was working on it till 4 o'clock in the morning last night. I had to get my kid to school. Thank God he couldn't bring the babies home lunch and stuff. I'm like, oh, thank you, kid.
That's the best part about those teams. Oh
my God.
I love it.
He's been cooking since he was like 5. So
you got to get all around.
My husband works out of town and stuff too, so like I get to run stuff the way I want to. He's coming home tomorrow, and I'm like, really?
Oh, wow.
No, I have to clean the house.
What does he do?
He's in construction.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a program manager. Yeah. So bouncing around from place to place. He's been gone for like 2 weeks. I'm like, oh man, I actually have to like clean something. Even though it's really easy, my kid does this.
So you got to need to send my kids over your spot to train.
We got to cook and clean.
You're listening to KGBC 96.9 FM Oakland and streaming online at www.kgbc969.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show with Kenya Asa, Quizzy Dreams, and your man Cat Fitness. That was a quick music break by Lil Russell, y'all.
Yeah.
Man, that brother is doing his thing in the Bay Area right now. But better than that, if y'all just tuning in, we have James from Body by James.
Body
by James in the
Let's
building
go.
today.
Yes.
And the first, if y'all just tuned in, make sure you go back to the beginning of this episode because James is really giving some jewels. And I know the second half, I always like tapping into the actual person, right? We can always talk about what we do with our clients, but James, this is my question. This is how we're going to start off the second half. Like, what do you do to maintain your health on a daily basis so you can stay at a certain level of consciousness, health, and the whole nine? Like, what does your day look like to maintain that? Because, you know, we talk off air all the time, like about certain lifestyle choices and what we do and stuff like that. But sometimes it's good for the viewers to know, hey, we're coaches, but we deal with life too.
Yeah.
But it's the way we approach life, the way we look at life, it allows us to maneuver through life a certain kind of way. So what is a day in a life of Body by James look like?
Man, well, first of all, like I said, we always talking off air. Me and Kat always got to say, let's save it for the show. We'll be on the phone for 2 hours. But when you was on the show with me just last week, we tapped into it just about setting your intentions. And, what am I going into this day or this situation or this meeting or whatever it is with the intention of either achieving, accomplishing, or what type of environment am I trying to create? So for me, man, it's almost like what I really had to do over the course of my life. And this happened for me early on. So I feel really blessed in that way. Some people, it happens later. I got to help and make it happen for you. But I got to a space where health, fitness, meditation, really just maintaining myself holistically, right? Whether it's physically, spiritually, mentally, whatever, it became the safe healing space for me personally.
Yeah.
So it actually it's something I do normally anyway. But when the trials and everything that goes on in life kind of kick up a notch and things are getting heavier, even then it's a space I can go to help me handle life. Right. So for me, it's like it's a twofold because I'm going to do it anyway. And then if it's going crazy and I'm stressing here and this going on with the kids and blah, 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 yada, yada, I'm going to go even harder over here because it's a space where I heal, where I get back in tune and tap into myself. So now I'm not only healing and I'm getting back to center, but I'm getting better shape too. Yeah. Right. So it's like it's double up. And that's what I try to tell people all the time. Don't look at it just from the physical standpoint.
Right.
Don't look at it like, oh, I want my butt tighter, or I want a six pack, or I want broad shoulders, or whatever the case is, whatever your goals are. If you can get into this space and really link it up with your mental and spiritual self, like it's almost a meditative process. Yeah. It really is. Like if you ever run up on me in the gym, whatever, I probably got my earbuds in, I'm listening to whatever I'm going and I'm zoning. Like I've literally walked past family in the gym and didn't even know they were there because I'm in my zone. Right. And then, hey, I'm turning, oh, my bad, bro. My fault. Let me come back and talk to you. Right. Because it really is that for me, man. So first thing in the morning, bro, real talk, get up, whatever your personal affirmations or whatever it may be, just some positive thinking, some meditative space, some prayer, all that good stuff. First thing. I like to kind of get off in my office and do that. And then I'll get some kind of physical exercise in early, right? I feel better physically and it also just sets me up for the day. And then again, for me, I'm blessed that throughout my day, man, I'm really fortunate that one, I'm doing what I love to do.
How did you really find that though? We kind of touched bases on that earlier in the show, but how did you know this was it? Like,
what I'm doing?
Yeah, what you're
day
doing.
in and day out. How did I know?
How did you know? Because you're 20 years in the game, right?
Yeah.
How did you know it's like, this is me? I found myself. Like, I can see myself. This is no longer work.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, okay. So let me put it this way. So one, I kind of come from a family of entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So I kind of figured the 9 to 5 wasn't me.
Yeah.
I tried them and sitting at a desk made me itch. So I was like,
no, too antsy.
It's definitely not me. So I've done other things, started my first business at 16 and just rock from there.
What did that look like at 16?
Bro, we was pulling out tree stumps. We was doing landscaping. I'd hook them up to the back of my truck and yank that thing out the ground, and then I'd go to school.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And college was doing the same thing. So it was already in there, right? And then we already ran down the whole, like, I was supposed to play ball in college. I really played half a season, and I was hurt the rest of the time. Yeah. So that got me into this kinesiology space. But where it really turned over, and I knew it was for me, was one, again, my family background and seeing where that came from. That was the emphasis, and that's what pushed me into it. But once I saw really that first person, bro, like when I wasn't even doing it officially, I wasn't even getting paid. Yeah. But I was just sharing knowledge with people, and the first person that came and started running with me, and then I saw what it did for them. And I was like, wow, see, I've already been in the athletic space my whole life. So this is kind of just me. Yeah. So I get the high and I love it, but this is just my life. Right. But that other person, when that light bulb came on, I was like, man. And then I started looking at it. And this is back in the day, we still in the VHS days. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We still have the tapes popping in. Yeah. So I'm looking at old P90 tapes and all types of
P90X, yes.
Popping in the VCR, trying to learn how to put some routines together. I was like, oh, they're making money. They're getting paid for this. I just do it for fun. Exactly. All right, cool. Let's see how this goes. Right. And it just, again, man, thank God, man, it's turned into my life, bro. But really seeing other people get that switch and like, wow, I can really do this. Or I never thought I could do this move. I never thought I could do this. I never thought I would feel this way about myself.
Was it ever a time that you second guessed it during that journey? Like you was like, man, I think it's kind of, I'm done with this. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done with training, and you know, because we always talk about the highs, but did you ever hit a low?
There are lows.
Oh, bro, the lows is everywhere.
Okay,
the low, and that's
but people need to hear this. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because they think life is just a high. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? If I'm facing any kind of challenge, struggle,
people, or they'll look at people like if people that are guests on the show or people that are on the radio and just think, oh, well, you know, their life is so easy or whatever. And I'm sure people will look at you, know that you're in shape and stuff like that and think, oh, it must just be genetics.
Right.
You know?
Right. Oh, yeah. We get that all the time, too. Yeah. My genetics are actually very tall, thin people. Yeah. I'm the largest one on my dad's side by far, and I actually just lost a bunch of weight on purpose. So when people talk about genetics, I'm like, dude, I was a skinny kid that was trying to get big. Yeah. Like I was 150 pounds when I started college. You know
soaking wet.
6'3", soaking wet, bro. So yeah, all that a lot of times is fallacy. But I mean, there were challenges this morning. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find the building. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I'm about to be late for the interview, this type of stuff. But the thing of it is, it's like the lows are what they are. Now, if you never, let's talk about it from 2 points of view, right? The fitness aspect and just the entrepreneurial aspect.
Yeah.
The fitness aspect, you're going to have highs and lows. Just some days you feel better than others, all that good stuff. And after a while, the whole point there is just to train yourself to learn to push through those days, right? Because you're going to get back to a good one. Yeah. Your body's going to feel good again. But if you quit on all the bad days, you're never building momentum. That's all it is. Entrepreneurship is pretty much the same way. But I would recommend this because we're in this social media age. Like, stop following all these people on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, that's showing you all the good stuff.
Right.
Because the good stuff is going to come, but you have to get through all the crappy stuff to get there.
Yeah, and there's always some sort of challenges. You know, we see this a lot in the yoga space. You know, you see a lot of skinny Caucasian girls, and you think, well, that yoga's not for me because I'm not skinny, I'm not young, I'm not white. You know, all of these things. And so for me on social media, like one time I was doing a yoga challenge, and I fell down the hill during the challenge and I've got scars on my legs and everything else from just falling down. And I'm like, okay, here I am with ice pack on my knee because I had no business trying to do that move on a slippery hill at the beach. And I just tumbled completely down a bunch of rocks. And it's not always pretty, you know, and did I get up again and start all over again? Sure, I did. You know, I'm just moving forward with some bumps and bruises. Right. You know?
And I think the thing is, like, having a mentality, like the three of us sitting here obviously have it. I already gleaned that from you, Kenya. I already know that. So I have a mentality that looks for the challenge, right? Like it's never.
But a lot of people run from the challenge.
Exactly. And
how do you help your client break through those barriers?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me not sugarcoat something again.
Okay.
All right.
I'm already getting the impression you don't sugarcoat much.
Nah, you know it is what you love me.
You go by, really you go to Body by James. It's gonna be a low sugar diet.
That part. You gonna fit. You gonna be fit. You gonna get this work too. Because at the end of the day, like, okay, prime example. One of my favorite speakers right now for the past few years, and I read all his books. David Goggins. So if you're not familiar with the brother, go look him up. Watch a couple of his videos.
Military.
And I got a military background too, right? So I know you went in. My whole family was in there. We're the first generation not to go, so we was raised the same way. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, if you want to know what this is about, go watch 2 of his videos, and you'll know how it's going to go, right? But it's not so much his harshness. It's the message he's getting across. And the thing is, like, if you live a life where you're always scared to move, or you actively avoid challenges, whatever, that's why you have the life you have. It's the bottom line. And I'm not saying that from a position of better or worse. It's the same for me. Any challenge I run from, I then have to sit in that real conversation with myself and be like, that's why you're here now.
Right.
You could have already been doing this, but you didn't do X, Y, and Z because you were scared.
That's so true.
Right?
Because we're living in a fear-based society, and the success is outside of your comfort zone. Exactly. They always say. Exactly. And if you're not willing to step outside of your comfort zone, we're all entrepreneurs, and it is not comfortable.
Right.
It is not comfortable. I made a lot more money when I had when I was working in the field that I ran from, like the hounds of hell were on my heels, you know. And I remember saying, I would rather live in my car than do this job for another day. I would rather live in my car. And so, and it was real talk, because it was such a traumatizing job. And so, you know, it's so true when you talk about people in all aspects, like fitness, anything else. You're not going to get anything that you're looking for if you're not willing to be uncomfortable.
Right, exactly. It's kind of like your actions produce the results. So if you're actively inactive, how are you ever going to get results? Well, you are. You're just not going to get any good ones. Right? So again, it's like when I'm talking to people, I tell people all the time, I can never speak to you crazier than I speak to myself. You have no idea what these internal dialogues are like. So what I'm giving you is like 10% of what I give myself. Like I don't talk to myself like a dog or talk myself down. I don't cut myself out, but I'm very hard on myself. And there's a reason, because, you know, we had the fitness side, the physical side of my family history, but also a lot of untapped potential. And I'm sure we can look at our own families and see that too, and ourselves. And I remember telling my mom, I was 9 years old. I told her, that will never be me.
Wow.
Period. It will never be me, because I had carpenters and engineers and scientists. Shoot, my grandfather had a garage full of inventions, and we would literally years later on, see things that he created that someone else actually did the work and put in the time, and now they're selling it. Come on. I shouldn't have to work right now if my grandfather had put 2 of those bids in. Right?
And sometimes it was just a lack of information that they had at that time. You know, grandpa might have not known how to patent and copyright some stuff, and you know what I'm saying. But he had
you wouldn't be listened to. Fear that you wouldn't be respected because you're an old person of color. You know.
They have situations and different circumstances they came up in. That's a whole different conversation. I was having that one of the kids the other day. Like, we can't complain about really anything. Like, my mother knows what it feels like to see hoses coming at you. She was born in 45. I don't know nothing about that. Nobody chasing me down the street. So when I say these things, a lot of times I know my delivery is what it is. It's just how I'm wired. But I'm not saying it from a point of like, oh, something bad and wrong, get yourself together. What I'm saying is, like you just touched on, Kenya, with our grandparents or the time they lived in. There are things that are happening right now. This is true. Nothing's ever perfect. Our country is all kind of jacked up in all kind of ways. But I wasn't born in 1910. I wasn't born in 1850. I wasn't born in 1940. I got a whole lot of rights and privileges. I got a whole lot of things within this messed up society that I can get done. So at the end of the day, am I going to push myself to my fullest potential within what I'm working with? Or am I going to use excuses that don't even apply to me anymore to not do anything?
Absolutely.
And so in every area of life, right, if you find a person typically that doesn't push themselves in 1 or 2 areas, there's really probably about 10. Because that's how that person is wired.
And I think we had this conversation off air one time. It's like, so much of what we see in our clients sometimes when they work out, and for whatever reason, like you're on rep number 8, right? and it's starting to get challenging. Yeah, you're like, oh, I feel something. Nope, I can't do it anymore. You're like, no, you have like at least like 3 or 4 more reps in you.
Cranking it out. What we doing?
Why we just stop? Oh, it got too hard for me. It's like, something inside of you shuts you down.
Well, and if you have somebody like you pushing, then that helps.
It does.
Yeah.
But sometimes people don't seek out the coaching.
Oh no,
right?
For sure.
And then even when your coach is helping you break through those walls, sometimes the resistance within those conversations to hold on to your old self, to hold on to the old narrative that you've been programmed to think, right? It's one of those things that each and every time I come across this person, you have to build those people up and show them in other ways where they start to just build the confidence, and then boom, like Coach James said, it's one of those things, you see that light bulb go off. And then not only do they have a breakthrough in the weight room or exercising, they start having breakthroughs in other aspects of their life.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
And then boom, they start building more momentum. And it all,
and confidence.
There you go. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I ask you a question too? If you come across, and I shouldn't assume, I'm not going to assume that you come across this, but do you ever come across people that have suffered from some sort of trauma or some sort of something that affected their eating, some sort of eating disorder where maybe they shouldn't be working out as much? Or because I had a really close friend that was a workout addict to the point and was so and also anorexic. So workout addict, and she was anorexic, and of course in the dance world, and have you come across anything like that where you felt like you had to let them know it's time to back off a little bit, it's time to step away a little bit and maybe deal with some of the other things that you might be going through before we take it out on your body?
Yeah, Ken, that's you went exactly where I was going, right? It's like anyone that's in that space, especially if you say they're also anorexic and this and that, what else is going on? Like what are we using fitness to cover up?
Absolutely.
What are we not addressing?
Exactly. Like fitness has become your mask. Right? Look at my body, therefore I'm okay. Right? Whole bunch of other stuff happening.
Oh yes, there was for this person a lot of other things that were really, really uncomfortable and really painful.
Got it. Yeah, no, it's again for me, at the end of the day, like inside, and Kat will tell you this, whatever, I'm really a big teddy bear. I love people and I want you to do well. But even with that same person, I would take the same approach that we normally take to fitness to addressing your mental health, your spiritual well-being, all this type of thing. What are we doing about those? Because the fitness, once that light bulb goes off, and once we can find you the right help, and maybe whoever you need to talk to, where you see yourself the right way,
that is key.
The other things will take care of themselves. You won't feel that need, right? So it's kind of like for me, I know I have a very addictive personality. Like I do. That's why there's also certain things in life that I just don't do. I don't gamble because we're gonna lose everything. Right? Like
I just lost the house.
Man.
Talk about living in the car.
Yeah, exactly. And not by choice, right? So I don't gamble, I don't do other things just because of that. So I understand that wiring, and then also if you compound PTSD or whatever it is on top of it. So we have to work through that. So that person, I would still work with them. We would still work out, but I would use those sessions like we talked about, like the bartender thing, right? Like, okay, did you call this person yet? Did you talk? I'm going to be on your head about getting that help that you need, in order for you to be okay, So it would still be the same approach, just in a different direction.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good, because we do find, I know in the work that I do with a lot of my clients, a lot of them do have trauma, and a lot of them have suffered from eating disorders or being abused or neglected or anything like that as children. And so then what you find is they want to do better. They want to do things. They want to get healing. But there are so many things that, number one, compound those problems in their day-to-day lives, but also things that tell them, or maybe even people that tell them that they are not worthy of that attention or worthy of healing, or worse, there's nothing that you need to heal from because your life was perfect.
Right.
Just totally invalidating their experiences entirely, you know.
Yeah.
So then, you know, there's something else as the coach or as the you know, the person working with them, like you do. There's another aspect to be aware of, so that you're not just thinking about the body.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah. And for me, like, two things there. Right. So again, going back to David Goggins, one of my favorite sayings from him, when he talks about when the light bulb came on for him, right? Because if you don't know his story, or anyone on the show doesn't know his story, he was super overweight, like ridiculously overweight, 100 and something pounds. Went into the military, was still overweight, and had to work on himself and finally get into a space where he could become his best self. But his breakthrough came. He said one day he had to sit down and realize all these people that are telling me X, Y, and Z, are telling me what's wrong with me. They're just as messed up as I am. They just do a better job of hiding it. And once he learned that, he stopped tripping off of what people were saying to him. Right? Like, because you're talking to me out of your hurt.
Yes, absolutely.
What you're saying to me is a reflection on you. So then he was able to really tap into that, right? And it's funny when you talk about like the perception of things, how people talk about things, whether it's the cat or the you, Kenya, or anyone else. There were times where, you know, I have my own business, I got my name on the building, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I was sleeping at the shop. Like, real talk. I had to make a business decision. A real one was like, am I going to pay the mortgage or the rent, or am I going to keep my studio open?
Right.
Like, I literally built a studio in the back of the shop and was living there. Most people don't know that because, my family. Why would I tell you that, right?
But that was part of your vision
Right. It's part of the stuff you have to do to get where you're trying to go. And so just because I don't portray that to you, or I'm not stressing off it day to day, I accepted that. It was a finite amount of time. I'm going to do this, and this is going to get me here, right? Where one person would look at my life at the time and still tell me how great it was, right? Even though I got my car in the shop and that's it, right? And another person, if they did know the ins and outs, would feel sorry for me.
Right.
I was feeling neither. It just is what it is.
Because you made the choices that you needed to make to get to where you are now.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. We talked about the luxury of choice. Like, you have power in that, and you have to be okay with that. There's choices I made that were great. There's choices I made that weren't so great, kind of something, but they were all choices I made. So I'm fine. Right? Literally, like, whether it's personal life, business, whatever, there are things that are great now that, looking back, if I hadn't made this jacked up decision at 20, I wouldn't even be here.
The lessons that you had to learn through the process.
Exactly.
Oh, James, I hate to cut you off right now.
What? We're not going 3 hours, bro?
Yeah, we almost there right now.
You're gonna call the wrong person for the show. We can be here all day.
We could be here all day for sure.
Before I let you get out the studio, I know you just launched your podcast. I want to talk a little bit about the podcast before we get out of here. Can you tell people, our viewers, about your podcast and the mission and the purpose behind it?
Right on. So again, the mission is always to be our best selves, spiritually, mentally, and physically. And I think this is a reason why, even years ago, Kat, when we were in talk about this, why we connected so well, because Kat is on the same page. So if you ever go to anything he has going on, he's trying to address all three: spiritual, mental, and physical. Speaking with Kenya, I know we just met, but that's your vibe as well. I know you're completely on that page. So the podcast is called the All Things Fitness Podcast. Right now, we have our YouTube channel up. You can find us on Instagram. Facebook will be up by the end of the week. And then the website is coming up too. So it's pretty much brand new. We've been around for like a month.
Nice.
But it's something I've been sitting on for a while and just trying to figure out how to tap into all three levels so people can become an actual whole person. Right. A lot of times we focus all our energy on one aspect of life and the other two suffer. And then we wonder why we're not doing as well or feeling as well as we could. So Kat has already been on a couple times. Shoot, we got to do a part 3 now.
I think we're on part 3 now.
Man, we're going to have an 18-hour episode.
The Trinity.
Trinity. Man, I feel like you might need a female guest once in a while. Oh, me? Yeah. Oh, no, I wasn't thinking. Oh, but if you insist, if you insist. I wasn't even thinking about myself, no.
Not
shameless
plug.
Right,
the sister I never had. Jumping in here. No, but you definitely on. We're going to have you on for sure. We do at least 1 episode a week. Sometimes we do 2. We had our other brother, Frank Clayton, on last week as well. But that's what it's about. Of course, we're in the fitness space, but we're all about being a well-rounded person, really maximizing your potential, in every area. Because I know for me, I spent so much time in my life focused on the physical, and I ignored these other areas of my life. Now I'm going, not even 100. I'm going 300 on every other area to make sure I'm a whole person. So we're going to talk about everything spiritual, mental, physical. Get your body together, get your mind together, get your spirit right, and really enjoy life. Right? Because you can enjoy life no matter what condition, no matter what situation you're in, if you're a whole person yourself.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful, man.
Sure is.
See, we definitely have to get you back in the studio for part 2, brother. Like that was, we just touched the tip of the iceberg.
Just scratch the surface.
The surface of it. Yeah, but we're at the end, y'all. But guess what? We'll be back next week. So we got episodes to come. We a year and a half now? Kenya?
Is it a year and a half?
A year and a half in the studio together.
Wow.
Yeah, putting this magic together.
That's right.
But we have to let you guys go and save some for next week, y'all. We can't give you all the jewels in one day, because then what fun would that be?
It wouldn't be any fun.
It wouldn't be no fun if we gave it to you all at once. Just give you a little taste at a time.
Just the tip.
Ooh, that's a different show.
That's a
and we out.
Till next week. Till next week. Woo! You're listening to KGBC 96.9 FM Oakland and streaming online at www.kgbc96.9.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share. Make sure you also go to our ACH Instagram page and follow us, y'all. Like always, we're here just to educate, motivate, and inspire you to live the best life that you can live each and every day. So guess what? We'll see you next week. Peace out.
Peace.
You know what? You got issues, man. You didn't tell me. Why didn't you tell me?
I was just about to say the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
Choked on my own saliva.
I think the real came out.
Oh, Jesus.
That is hilarious. We always get a blooper in there. We got to get a blooper.